welcome to another edition of Advancio Talks. I'm your host Kareem, and we're here live at ITC Connect in Vegas at the world's largest insurtech convention. Today we have a special guest. We have Sheeba Mushtaq with us. Sheeba, welcome.
Thank you. I feel really, really nervous and happy about doing this.
Oh, you're doing just fine.
It's my first time.
You're doing wonderful, Sheeba. Well, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Sheeba, tell us about yourself. Who are you? What do you do?
That's really complicated because I work for a startup and I wear multiple hats. I don't have a designation to say, but they call me technology evangelist. So I'm basically responsible to understand problem statements and try and get perfect solution drafted for that use case to be solved, and that's how it goes into product management, and then the product gets built according to the collected information, and that's how it goes about. So major part of my job is this, and I also do investor relationships for some extent.
Right, so you're a problem solver and a money manager. Well, welcome to our show. Obviously, we're here. It's an insurance event. It's an insurance technology event. Insurance by nature doesn't like change that much. And we see that technology is coming in and coming in fast. So in your opinion, how is today's technology shaping today's insurance landscape?
Oh, that's true. I can't agree more on how rigid and how strong we get when we see change in insurance. And but I think it's changing, and I've seen that in past 3 years change real fast. Everybody's moving towards anything tech, and the most regulated, boundaried industry is actually opening up to a lot of transformation to get to that better stage and keep up pace with everything else and everybody else in this space. So that's changing is what I feel.
What do you think is driving this change?
One, of course, the scalability. Like everybody wants to scale better. The customer needs are changing. Customers are the patience level is less, and with changing generations, I think it's just getting more and more faster, and we can't keep up with that if we stay behind with the legacy systems and the technology we had built eons ago. So I think that's customer dependent. Yes.
You're absolutely right. It seems like today's insurance customer is not like yesterday's, where they just got that deck page in the mail. They didn't look at it until next year, right?
Yes.
Today, they want an experience. They want to feel that they're getting service out of their insurance company. And obviously, that forced the companies to go out there and provide that experience to their customers. Absolutely right. Well, obviously, we can't talk about experience without talking about nowadays the buzzword, right? AI. So chatbots is definitely one of the that we've seen. Conversational AI is huge in this space. What's different about AI that has made it, as just from what we're observing, right? We're at a conference, pretty much every other booth has the 2 letters in it, right? What has changed to kind of force this fast adoption of AI compared to other technology? It took years for everybody to get on the cloud, for example, right?
And I think AI has been there for way too long, but it's just the approach and acceptance has changed a lot of things for AI. And I think what makes it easier for acceptance is maybe looking at AI a little differently, changing the optics from thinking that this is something that's going to basically replace humans to thinking about it as augmenting your workforce, right? Your human power. Because AI can't do everything on its own, for sure. It leverages the human intelligence to just get to where it has to get. It is still driven. So, yeah. That's what I think is
That's very
changing.
That's very good observation. Obviously, we started experimenting with AI, like you said. It's been here for a long time. Like AI, back in the '60s, it was discovered, and then the '90s with the machine learning, right? And then the early 2000s. Now you got in the 2000s, you got the regular cognitive, like vision AI and all that, speech AI. And today's large language model is the big word, right? Generative AI is the big word. Today, to your point, as fancy and as developed AI is, it still cannot replace human. It can help us do our job better, but it cannot replace us. But that doesn't stop us from wanting to get to that next level where we're helping it, right?
Absolutely.
Where it handles
Absolutely.
99% of what we would want it to do, and then we come in as that 1%. What do you think the biggest challenge is going to be to get to that level? I mean, you obviously work in the AI space. You can tell us a little bit about your own personal experience.
Sure. I think, I'm part of a deep tech organization called as Continex. And, the next level actually is our tagline. We want to get there. And, we speak about a lot of our processes, a lot of our product building happens only with the vision to say, how do we get to the next level? And that next level is going to always elevate from one step to the other. And I don't think there's this objective defined and you have the destiny to it, right? It's always just going to be getting higher and higher. So with LLMs and Gen AI, if I can tap that bit,
Yes,
because
please,
those
go there.
those are my interesting words, because we do a lot into LLMs, and I think that's exactly what is going to drive that next level, because now we don't need generic assistance. We don't need generic help. We need everything personalized, right? Even if I have to get a coffee at Starbucks, I would like a name on it. So
With soy milk, please.
yes, right? And yeah, of course, the choices we make, right? There's so many things to choose from, and we need our niche. Like, we know exactly what we need, and that's exactly how it is elsewhere too, be it insurance, banking, anywhere you go, highly regulated society, to something simple as retail and e-commerce. You see, experience and technology together only to make sure that you are trying to do best of the best in the space, being very close to your end customers or your your audience, right? You're trying to stay really close to them, and LLMs basically try and do that, right? So we'll not be using generic topics to.
It's humanizing the tech. It's really what's doing.
It is.
But we can't talk about LLMs. We are talking about the cons of LLMs, like the bias of the models, right? And in insurance, for example, and finance, in the finance industry in general, that's a very dangerous thing, because you could very much have a model that is very biased against a certain demographic or very biased against a certain region, right? Based on historic models that we trained on. So I believe that it's going to be very, very good to adopt LLMs, but I think it's going to be dangerous to let it go free, right, and replace us, right?
Yeah. And I think that's exactly a lot of us are trying to do. I did meet a lot of other people who are into the same space as AI, conversational AI, and somebody who's into generative AI space in here, in the conference. And I think everybody's understood the depth of it, and that's why we're making, all of us are trying really hard to keep the bias out with all of the fine-tuning that comes along.
That's the key word, right? Trying really hard.
Really. And it makes sense, because you at least are, that there could be a problem that is there. And I'm sure the models that are probably being accepted and implemented in insurance are something which is highly under surveillance. The fine tuning is under surveillance. So you are really keeping the chances of hallucination out of the box, and that's why you try to keep it face-wise, right?
Well,
You don't want to go
that requires
right,
an organization that's aware of that and building actually a mechanism to kind of make sure you keep that box under control, right? Because a lot of times we get so eager at getting the job done, we kind of tend to loosen up those controls, right? And then I think that's where the corporate ethic comes in. Like corporations have to be aware of that and maybe not be too eager to put things in production that are not ready. Because of some ROI that we probably might not even be able to calculate, because if we're developing AI model to prevent fraud and fraud never happens, then we would never know how much fraud would have happened if there was no AI in place, right? So you could put your whole business at risk because you're too eager to adopt the technology.
And I think that's why we're not, even if the AI has been spoken out loud and out, I think the implementations are really face-wise, and everybody is keeping a tab on how the movement is when you're trying to implement solutions inside of an organization. Also keeping in mind the heavy PII, right? The data security, because as beautiful and fancy these words look, AI and LLMs, I think the most important part there is to be aware that you're driving, you're building solutions, you're building products that make total sense to a regulated market, to keep the customer information safe, the company information safe, right? We all know how OpenAI works, and we know the mishaps that have happened. Samsung mishap that has happened. So I think we're although we know, but we also know the difference between how an OpenAI sort of a platform would work, and that's not like the best option for any company in insurance to adopt it.
So fascinating conversation. Unfortunately, we're getting close to our time. Give us some golden nuggets, some last words. How do we adopt AI responsibly?
I'm not sure if I'm the right person to point that out, but whatever little experience I carry in this space, I think one is I'm talking through purely the perspective of somebody who's building solutions for the market. I think we need more of an understanding of the industry than concentrating just on building solutions, because I don't think that would make sense. So first, just validating the problems, being very, very close to industry makes more sense than just trying to drive your brainchild into motion, right? Just like that. So I think my golden nugget is just to, no matter the time has passed with AI, but I think we're still not there yet. So keeping it very close to you, analyzing every step, and evaluating and prioritizing the industry needs and customers will make more sense when you're building a solution.
Very well said, Sheeba. Very, very well said. You should always focus at the job to be done, not the tool. At the end of the day, AI is technology, as fascinating as it is, it's just a tool to solve a problem. And don't go out with a tool trying to find a problem to solve, right?
Yeah.
Focus on the problem that needs to be solved, and if the tool fits, which happens to be AI, then great. If not, don't force it. Very well said. Sheeba, it was a pleasure having you on the show.
Oh, thank you so much. It's great, and I probably overcome through my fear of being on the camera.
Oh, you did wonderful today, and we wish you the best endeavor. I know you're doing some great thing with speech AI.
Thank you.
And we'd love to have you again in a few years to kind of tell us how big
sure.
you've gotten, and
yes.
your startup very successful.
Yeah. I hope that for you too.
Thank you, Sheeba. Thank you.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you all for following. It was great. Just another edition of InsurTech Talk. This is Kareem, your host. As always, please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.